entered the realms of the gods. So give us your mind and your full attention.
So you say you deal with esoteric information? I never heard of such.
Well, you're in for a treat.
Blog talk, this is the blog talk. I lean L Bay, dropping jewels every day. Blog talk, this is the blog talk. Metaphysical, we deal with the spiritual. Blog talk, this is the blog talk. I lean L Bay, dropping jewels every day. Blog talk, this is the blog talk. Metaphysical, we deal with the spiritual. So you claim to be a god?
Damn right I'm a god. The maker, the owner, cream of the planet Earth, father, civilization, god of the universe. Wow, I didn't know that. Wow, I didn't know that. Wow, I didn't know that. Wow, I didn't know that.
So tune in or lose, friend. All strategies applied mathematically. The information he drop is real powerful. So get your notepad, it's more than an hour full. Watch your jaw, the crew is watch us talk. Indigenous to the land wherever we stand. First world order, we bringing it home in the first quarter. Invisible lines don't apply, we cross borders. Silly rabbit, knowledge for gods. No matter where you reside, Lodge, Temple of Mars. So don't fret or proceed with hesitation. Just tune in to Blog Talk to get the information. Peace. Whether you suffer from pain in your back to aches in your knees, come on down and purchase you some ancestral tea to get rid of all the parasites, toxins, and fleas. Spiritual elevation for cosmic gravitation. So put away the patience, cause there's no time to be wasted. Ancestral tea, that's all you need. Ancestral tea, so you better believe. Commercial advertising for AncestralTees.com. All rights are reserved. Peace.
I don't need to be a dope boy, my poetry is dope enough. Trapping interstellar while my third eye open up. See through all the lies that y'all telling with a straight face. Return of the luminous ones. Y'all better make way to find a chapter. Find a collapse on all you politicians. They politicking how to lead a world, no pot to piss in. The way I think is more deep and in the Grand Canyon. I guarantee this black man would be the man standing. My premonition matched the Olmec calendar. It's always accurate like a lightweight challenger. For all you wicked witches and the Wizard of Oz, you and that man behind the curtain, yeah, y'all fixing to fall. Only a matter of time before shit hit the fan. Here's an idiot's guide for you on how to get a man. I don't need a bunch of homies to ride or die with me. I can call on Hey Roo to fly the skies with me. Going through the transition and that's all she wrote. Put on my uncle, gave my Jesus peace back to the folk. Came back my angel time to bring heaven on earth. I was the last golden child that returned to the birth. We going through the transition and that's all she wrote. Put on my uncle, gave my Jesus peace back to the folk. Came back my angel time to bring heaven on earth. I was the last golden child that returned to his birth. When I'm riding on this city streets, never really miss a beat. To the point of no return, unless I turn another cheek. Catch me on my daily box, smooth as I wanna be. Just being me, never chilling with the wannabes. God in the flesh, dated bad sister latches. Because my history is more than they can understand it. My melanated skin, starburst from the astro. I'm made of dark energy created from black holes. No thyself, the only one one you can lean on. I got some scoop bush that y'all can break y'all weed on. Our here's Martin Luther King and slave ships. But what about the underwater cities and spaceships? My mystical mind, we had the government covering. But if the OMAD will fly away like a mothership, where African people were the real Anunnaki, wearing feathers on their heads, just a few feet taller than me. Through the transition, and that's all she wrote. Put on my uncle, gave my Jesus peace back to the Pope. Came back my ancient times to bring heaven on earth. I was the last golden child that returned since birth. We going through the transition, and that's all she wrote. Put on my uncle, gave my Jesus peace back to the Pope. Came back my ancient times to bring heaven on earth. I was the last golden child that returned since birth. Yo, don't look at me the same, I ain't nothing like I used to be. Upgraded daily through the lies and all the foolery. My dream became lucid, I travel back in time, collecting life data for my subconscious mind. That Father let me know that anything is possible by pulling down the universe through my crown chakra. Manipulate the energy is all an illusion. Knowing who you are kills all the confusion. Why 85% judge off my appearance? I use alchemy to create the world potential. My lyrics turn divas right back into queens. Why dope boys that think twice appearing back on the scene? Everybody gone mad, blaming media outlet. The new black Hollywood chosen straight out the project. Bobo agenda war, sucking up to the master. While the whole community going up in disaster. We going through the transition, and that's all she wrote. Put on my uncle, gave my Jesus peace back to the Pope. Came back my ancient times to bring heaven on earth. I was the last golden child that returned since birth. We going through the transition, and that's all she wrote. Put on my uncle, gave my Jesus peace back to the Pope. Came back my ancient times to bring heaven on earth. I was the last golden child that returned since birth.
Peace. We're back once again. First Order Radio. No doubt we're in the house. Your host, Dr. Alain Bey. And my co-host here, Brother Fahim Mel. Are you here, brother?
Hey, how I tell you, Washington East?
Hey, I tell you, Washington East. How you doing tonight, Doc?
Doing well, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
All right, excellent.
All right, we got a special show tonight. This is Brother Raul. All right, we'll be here. If y'all don't know who he is, and y'all should know who he is, he's one of the greatest astrologers, cosmologists that I've ever heard. And I've studied astrology since a child. And he makes it so simple that even a simpleton can understand it. All right? So we will be having Brother Raul, the cosmophysician, in the house in a few minutes. But there are some things that we definitely want to talk about first. The slander in which that is going on concerning this Baton Rouge shooter of these officers. This is definitely a tragedy. This brother, that he killed, Brother Jackson, was also indigenous to this land. As a matter of fact, the Jacksons are part of the imperial bloodline of the Washita. What's your thoughts on this, Brother Al?
Well, like you said, they joined police departments, and they're all through law enforcement and the court system, politics, and what have you. Like you said, they don't give psychological evaluations to men and women that are entering the armed forces. I guess that's because they have a psychological doctrine waiting for them already when they go in.
Right.
And if you take I don't know if they still take the aptitude tests when I came in or not, but they take an aptitude tests to see where is best fit, to put you at,
Right.
And some of these people go through certain special training. Like I said, a brother in Texas was in the reserves, but no, I believe he took some ranger training or something, some Green Beret,
right?
Because he was an excellent shooter,
Mm-hmm.
He just learned all that just being in the Army Reserves.
Right.
Same thing with this brother in Baton Rouge, our brother from Kansas City, and he didn't miss neither. But they got to him sooner than they got to his brother in Texas. That's all. He would have did a lot more damage if they would have got to him sooner. Got to him more sooner. So they were excellent shots, which I believe I'm leaning toward Manchurian Candidate. Be myself.
Exactly. That's what I would be leaning towards, Brother L. Based on the fact that they both suffered from, PTSD. I'm gonna bring in Brother Raul Cool right quick.
All right.
You got anything you want to build on that, Brother Raul Cool? You are on the line.
Bro, I haven't been keeping up with those dates in particular. I've been keeping up with the.
I got
can
you.
You hear me? Yeah, I've been keeping up with the rates, the trends, and other perspectives. I've been looking a lot at the astrology of the world, mundane astrology, as opposed to birth date astrology.
Right. Well, let's go there. Let's see what we got for the world, because this is what everybody would like to hear about anyway. Is where's the world going? Is the world going in a handbasket of hell? Is the world, is going to survive another, illogical, war? Some say this is leading towards a race war. Some say that is leading towards conversation, confiscation. I'm a little tongue-tied tonight, but confiscation of guns, or more gun control laws, whatever the case is, tell us, what you have, in which that we can look at as far as the world is concerned, Brother Raul.
Well, first, I examine the past, Lord. It's rather lengthy. I don't know how much time you're willing to, dedicate this segment. Like, how long is it? How much time do I got?
Bruh, you got as long as you want.
Okay.
You got an hour and a half to 2 hours and a half.
There you go.
I'm looking at a few things, like in terms of trends, like the evolution of consciousness, which is the primary moving, evolutionary pattern of humanity. And, because that's why we're here, is to build our consciousness, everyone here. So looking at it like that, if you're going to look at the world, you have to first look at the state of consciousness. And, I come from different schools and disciplines with my thesis. So, can't lock it into one source of reference, but I use both measures, the sidereal and the tropical, for those who are familiar with the science, and for those who are not, in layman's terms, I use both Eastern and Western astrological methodology, interpretation, and measure. And their philosophies, give birth to a pattern, and that pattern manifests as a constant. That constant happens to find a concurrence in the motion that coincides with the motion of planets and tilting of our planet. The tilt that our planet takes right now is at 23.46, 23 degrees, 46 minutes, almost 23 and 3/4 of a degree off of a perfect perpendicular, and compared to the sun. So, I'm looking at all of that. I'm looking at ancient history. I'm looking at the fall of the Moors and the exile, the Moriscos, and things of this nature. And when I look at all of that, and the Olmec heads and the dates that concur with certain astrological patterns, to bring it up to the present day, to give you all an understanding of what I'm looking at. It's like the order of the zodiac is placed upon the timeline of history, and the monuments that are left here on this planet concur with the alignment of the heavens. as above, so below. So in Egypt, when it was passing from Virgo into Leo, they built the Sphinx with the human head. That's Virgo, and the body of a lion, which is Leo. And they don't understand that. When you rewind and have it back to that point, the plateau on Giza perfectly matches the Orion, the constellation of Orion. So they were using the heavens as a template for their calendar. So when we move forward from that to present day, that pattern, is chopped up into 2 years, 2,160-year ages that are subdivided into threes, into 720-year thirds of that age, and then furtherly quartered off into 180-year sections of time that carry the footprint or the symbolism of the astrological sign that is there. So when we look at this blueprint in terms of the original man on this planet Earth, I cannot take time out to just go so fine in detail individually covering a couple thousand years. So I'm going to try to bring you up to speed, all right? Like in the sub-age of Capricorn of the Aquarian age, which extended from like 1452 to 1632, something like that. And this Capricorn represents landlords, and it also represents the fall. And it represents a change in management, a switch in superiority and authority. And it deals with punishment, right, losses and things of this nature. So when we associate these words, these keywords at this age, that this little sub-age, this 180-year trend manifests astrologically, it certainly concurs with the history of the time, because Capricorn represents fall, it also represents the color dark brown and black. You want to know the semantics of it. Capricorn is black and brown, so there's no distinction, no argument astrologically for the black man or the dark brown man, okay? And the brunette skin or whatever words you want to use to describe him. Then there's the concept of falling from heights. You see, and the switch of management, and they were exiled. All of that is Capricorn-type symbolism. Plus, they were overpowered because of their lack of gunpowder, and gunpowder was used against them. See, and they had not yet to see the technology of that. And because of this, it shifted. Now, after Capricorn, when we entered the age of Aquarius, we moved from 1632 to 1812. We're in the age of Sagittarius, which, if you know about astrological symbolism, Sagittarius does exploration, travel, opening, benefit, commerce, taking advantage of things. It also represents ecclesiastical law. Ecclesiastical law, y'all. Okay? So, this is when they began to understand how to convert these laws into legalities in government, and Sagittarius also ruling the skin deals with ethnicity, and it deals with variety, and it deals with culture, and therefore variety of culture. It deals with travel, and thus traveling to foreign places, and thus foreigners. So it points to people of a different skin. It points to the foreigner, the people from a distance, people who explore, who you must explore to see, or who explored to see you, and blah, blah. So in that age, you see the European making their expansion everywhere, doing exactly what Sagittarius is. Now, what's funny about Sagittarius, it traces all the way back to 6000 B.C., when the emergence of the gene, of the lactose-tolerant gene and the light-skinned gene flourished in Europe. It was in a Sagittarius state. So you look for this pattern in every Sagittarius state, and we see these Caucasians gaining footage during this time. So, Europeans, they're Caucasoids. All right? So, at any rate, because the Europeans, original Europeans, is black, the Mountie, Caves and French, niggas, period, how you want to put it. So, you move through these time passages up to the present, right? Or we can't skip the Scorpio Dwar, because that went from like 1812 to 1992. And when you look, this is the Dwar in which Drew Ali was born, y'all. See?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he was born 1886, So and he was also born in the sub stage when we look at the Jupiter Saturn stage conjunction. It was in the sign of Taurus, which deals with commerce. And then the chart that I recently looked at to rectify his birth had the sun at the second degree, at the second cusp, which is commerce. The sun in Capricorn, which is business, management of commerce. And this is what he taught on one level. This is what he encouraged on one level. And then he had Jupiter and Uranus in Libra, which Jupiter is abundance and good fortune and to spread and proliferate and to teach and to be the guru of and things of this nature. You associate this with the other planet it was linked to was Uranus, which is freedom, independence, nationality, nations, and people, and humanity. Prophecy, goddammit. That word is number one on the psychic level when we apply Uranus to anything is prophecy. And when we conjunct this to the midheaven in Greensboro, North Carolina, because it's thought that he was born close to there, so that's what I'm using. So, and we progress it to, 42 years, 12 hours, 36 or 40 minutes, because it's still one within that day, right? We come out to him dying in the company of his people, just like was testified. His breath suddenly stopped, and so we look at the fact that they said he had tuberculosis, something wrong with his lungs. The chart verified all of that shit. I don't know if I'm losing him. You did, but so boom. So not only that, we find that other people born in that same phase, Marcus Garvey and Elijah Poole, but at different stages in that 60-year phase. They came bringing exactly what their charts say. So to the times I'm looking at, I'm not even taking into regard the doctrine of these men. Only thing I care about is what they were doing. Okay, they all tried to uplift fallen humanity, but all pressing commerce, Garvey, Poole, and Garvey, Elijah, and Noble Drew Ali. So I look at that time set, and then I look to him being born in Scorpio. That is when genetics emerged, y'all. So peep. The science of genetics flourished, was just beginning to be pioneered during the 60-year span, the same age that Noble Drew Ali, Garvey, and Elijah Muhammad were born in. That's so crazy, because why? Because it seems like now that the movements, that the freedom movement on every level, man, just more of a science of, nation of something, just a conscious movement of humanity towards freedom makes this emergence again. Here, later, in this age, in our age, internet age. Right? But I skipped some details between there, so let me go back. Right? So,
Brother Raul, cool. Why is that happening now? As you were saying, what is the alignment in which that is taking place for the freedom movements, as you stated, to be galvanized at this time period? Like you said, the internet is one, so of course that deals with communication.
Well, first of all, we, as of 1452, in my measure, okay, the mankind is in the age of freedom, okay, and in the age of liberation, okay. Slavery ended in this age, and servitude and the rights of man all over the world are an issue, not just here in this nation and just pertaining to our people. It's really wide, man, since the scepter of authority has passed from the original to the unoriginal man. So, that whole thread and that whole shame, any patriarchy and all of that shit, all of that is all correlated, is all part of one motif. It just seemed to be broken up from those who can't seem to integrate or synthesize. Why now? Because we are in the age of Aquarius. It deals with humanity. It deals with rebellion. It deals, and in order for there to be a struggle for freedom and an evolutionary growth of man into a higher consciousness regarding freedom and humanity and humanitarianism, there must be a challenge to that. So this is why we get all the negative. Like, why are we here on this planet, first, consciously, to evolve your consciousness, no matter what you are. See, when I say that, I mean white, black, yellow, red, orange. If you don't like using colors, you want to use nationality. Chinese, Tibetan, Hindu, Indian, African, or Ethiopian. You dig what I'm saying? Nigerian, Somalian, whether you French, how many countries I got to name? Brazil, Venezuela, Mexican. So you know these different flavors, and it's time for the consciousness of man to get to know one another. We gonna know one another. We're gonna know who each other is. And the original man, that's first shape of the sign of Leo. That is at the sign on the other side of the chart that is descending. It is at the descending. It started descending at the top. 6,400, 6,840 or 6,480, something like that years ago, right? 1/4 for 25,920, really, to be more accurate. So then you see this whole cycle unfolding in sub-cycles. And sub-cycles. So now, like we in the Dwadashama Libra, you see? That started in 1992, which is government. You see? And the genetic thing. Because genetics was pioneered at the birth of Diwali, the same cycle that he was birthed in re-emerges. So just like it started in that same Taurus Dwadashama, and it starts again here in the next Dwadashama that's ruled by Venus, which is Libra. And so thus everything that started in that cycle has a re-emergence in this cycle. So you see genetics flourishing again with the government and with partnership and marriage laws, and it was like it used to be two countries war, and we kick their ass, and then there's a treaty, and they get to rebuild, and we get to help them do that and exploit that whole situation because we destroyed it, right? We get to make all the money out of it, and then they get to go back to governing themselves like the fuck they was, right, under treaty with us. Now we institute government. See, that started in 1992, 1993, 94 with Desert Storm. It's the first time we ever went to a country, so now that we won the war, now y'all going to have a government that is this. You get me? We're going to install a dictator. We're going to make y'all accept democracy now, which is Libra. You see? Which is Libra. Yeah, and not Republican, which is Aquarius. So because we're in the age of Aquarius, what is the remedy for that bullshit? Remedy is Republic. What is the difference between a republic and democracy? Well, democracy is when the crowd rules, the mob rules, everybody present, majority of everybody fucking present, not the majority of everybody living. You see what I'm saying? So people don't understand the motherfucking difference. And I do, and astrologically there's a difference too, Libra and Aquarius, you see? So, with the dictator, it works on Operation of Mouth. What I say, go on, that's Gemini, what you say. But so, why now? This is why. So, like, people say, well, when is it going to be over? We are in a time where you have to concur with the motion. That's where, Noble Drew, he was an Egyptian adept. He was an astrologer. I read his autobiography and every single one of the sheikhs and sheikhesses and office muftis, they all had astrologer in the title of their name. See? That's crazy. Because right now, I meet some brothers who are naive enough to say that, that was not taught, that was not a main. Well, why was it in the title of every officer of the temple? MSTA. So, that's why I think that because he had Jupiter and Uranus, that points to the philosophy, Jupiter, of metaphysics, the mechanics of metaphysics, which is Uranus. He had this in Libra, in the sign of law and government. And liberating the people is Jupiter and Uranus conjunct, astrologically, interpretationally, delineationally, translationally, putting those two symbols, those two glyphs together, those two planetary energies, those two forces together in one place in Libra shows that his abundance of the knowledge of the law. Abundance equals Jupiter, knowledge, Aquarius, and law, which is Libra. For the upliftment, which is Jupiter, of humanity, which is Uranus. You see, so he's reading his own chart to you. See, astrologically, there's no astrologer, white, black, yellow, or Hindu. You do what I'm saying? They would argue with my interpretation like of his birth chart with those keywords. Ain't that a miracle, y'all? See, that's the miracle of it, as above so below, period. As above so below, that ain't a miracle enough for your ass. I don't get it. I said, but it's a miracle enough for me. And so we look now in this Libra section, we see law and the knowledge of law re-emerging especially in the computer age, because it deals with the rights, it deals with being governed, it deals with people. So, back in the day, we can kill this whole neighborhood, kill everybody in this town. And it might take a month before the people in the next town find out, 2 or 3 weeks, man. Because they ain't did no commerce in 2 or 3 weeks, and they ain't been over there. So nobody know. So, but now, can't nothing happen nowhere that within minutes and in front of the whole world, See? So the concept of rights and oppression becomes now more globally understood, more globally witnessed, and the consciousness of man seeing it, the natural human fucking action to that is rebellion. I mean, let's get 100 people together, any 100 that are capable of taking on their own, though. So they have experienced freedom at some point in their life. And let's cage them niggas instantly for nothing. You think it's going to happen as soon as you leave the door open and then try to close it. See? It doesn't matter what religion they are, what gender, so all that shit that people want to argue, I can't look at that. I can't look at these little individual events. Brother killing police. Police been killing our babies. What do you think is going to happen next? You dig? 20 years of this being, precedent. Ain't nobody doing nothing about this, man. Somebody will stand up here, right? 60 years of it. People need to be working behind the scenes. The Jewish Defense League, the JDO, you don't want to get political on that. The JDO and all them, they created the state of Israel, man. So, you look at what they did the exact same thing that you was talking about. They seized their trust, they declared their identity, and, this is so complex, man. Let me get my thoughts together for a second. All right?
You're doing good, brother.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I get that, but I need to think for a second because of a point that I'm trying to make. That, we have these time periods that as far back in the past as you want to look, they concur with the relics, they concur with the monuments, they concur with the written history. You see, they don't slip. It doesn't mismatch. So with the actual written history for which we have artifacts, see, so let's use that. Because I showed up, we don't have, I ain't fucking with you. All that, this is what was written, because they got different accounts. The victor writes the story, And the actuality of it is always going to be in the stars, or what we call in the stars, which is the measure of motion in the planets. Not stars at all, besides the sun, right? Let's looking at the planets, the stars, and then right? But, you are the universe, and the first law is universal law. In this country, they use the pattern of the universal law founded by the ancient Magi, or Magi. And, they put the planets in the order of their speed as opposed to their distance from the sun. Because we're measuring from the earth. We're not measuring from the sun. A lot of people say, well, the planets don't actually go around the sun, right? The earth is not in the sun, and that doesn't make sense. Well, no, the astrological horoscope is a visual, apparent measure. It appears to rise at this time, at 6:28 in your location. So it appears because in 7,000 miles west of you, they got fucking 8 hours before the sun rises. You see, or they got the sunrise 8 hours before you, depending on if you're moving east or west. So it's apparent, and it's from your position measured, and thus perfectly accurate from the locale. Measures from this location. So now that's how God is based. That's the measure is what it's based on. So when you see this natural order of progression, man, I have opportunity to see it manifest on a personal level for years because I studied natal astrology. I have seen it on the social level. I've seen it in my family, in my friends, and I've gotten to the point where I understand these laws. You understand these laws. They apply to the person as to the object, as to the reality, because laws govern reality. So there is nowhere in the world any prophet can manifest that didn't teach astrology, and he did. See, that's just marvelous for me. But I can find it permeated in any scripture you want to bring up from any religion, devil worshiper, object worshiper, spook worshiper. Okay, I don't care. It permeated with astrology, astrological order. Even when they claim that we didn't know about Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, we had the trinity of Osiris, Tahuti, and Sebek. You see, and how the hell do we know about those forces? The symbolisms of them never had is Neptune for real. Like, we just changed the names according to who took power. That's all. But the names, even the names that we call Roman and Latin names and Greek names, y'all got to understand that those languages came out of African tongues and Aries and Mars, Neptune and Poseidon, Zeus and Jupiter, Venus and Juno. See, them people, these are ancient Kushite African kings and queens that were mythological by the time the Romans got power from the Etruscans. By the time the Greeks were civilized by the Phoenicians, you see? So you got to understand, that I don't care about beliefs here, doctors. I'm looking at what's happening in history, what's happening in museums. When was this drop? Olmec heads. The head and fate, all of them, all over North America, right? Just nothing but heads. Where's the bodies for these things? Well, there was a message being sent. Well, how old are these heads? Well, like 900 BC on back. So we look at this measure I got, right, that I'm using. We start the age of Aquarius at the age of 1452, y'all. It moves backwards. So if you're going back in time, you're moving forward in the zodiac. So 1452, going back to 1300s, 1200s, and decreasing in time, going back towards 0 BC or 1 BC. We are moving through the age of Pisces. Then at 708 BC, we in the age of Aries. And then in 2868 BC, we in the age of Taurus. So now when we get to the age of Aries, right? We get to the end of the age of Aries, 708 BC. See? So when you look at that, you like, okay, what was going on in 708 BC and around that time? So you take a 1,000-year chunk out right there. So I'm looking for 708 BC, 1708 BC to 708 BC, and I see that this is in the age of Aries. By the way, Aries is the head, you guys. So and in this age, all the African explorers left heads all over the place. Like how deep you won't get? You dig? Now, it was deeper. They did it in the Taurus sub-age of the Aries age, moving into the Aries Dwadashama sub-age of the Aries age. So this Taurus is Earth. And the lightest head is made out of, all these heads are made out of stone. The lightest one is 6 tons. So their heads made out of stone, right? Well, it moves straight from Taurus into Aries, the very last Dwadashama of Aries, 900 BC, man. You see? And how significant is that? Well, just like I said earlier, when they built the Sphinx, it was a transfer from Virgo to Leo.
Right.
You see? Virgo, the head of a woman. See, that was the head of a woman, y'all. And we know this because all of the relics from that time, when we go back 10,000, 12,000 years, are all women. The whole earth is dominated by the female, no matter what species you want to bring up, except for maybe seahorses.
Indeed.
So you think about that, man. It's predominant female. So the original man saw that. This is why the worship of the goddess was there, man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. And if you look at all Congresses were made of the female body, man, and they're the ones who elected the president, too, man. Just like Pharaoh was elected by the godmother, queen mother. And you see these patterns, it's just so like, the next one, y'all, is the Virgo. That starts in 21. Let me look. In 2172. No, in 2112. Yeah, right. That's when that starts. So we got from now till then, and then when Virgo kicks in, Virgo is work. It is the laborer. So either it goes to more socialist kind of laborish type of communist government, or the worker is the layman is put into camps. Well, they're building. That's how they see it. They're planning to build. They're building camps that are open and non-functional. They are personneled and non-populated. These are FEMA camps. There are other kinds of camps So by within the next, 160, 170 years, they're going to be trying to put niggas in camp, which is why it is important now to do your legal work, that you make your declarations, file your affidavits, put them on notice as to your being American and not a part of the corporation, or you're going to be called by executive order to take your ass into the camp. But not you, the listener, because it's 170 years from now. We talking about your great-grandkids or their babies. See? That's if you let it continue to go on. Now, the murder, see, there's all kinds of vibrations going on in this universe, all kinds of fractals and frequencies, which creates reality for us in this three-dimensional, vent that we're in. Right? So when you understand those frequencies, each one of them concur with the physical reality as it does a mental, as it does an emotional, as it does a spiritual, as it does a financial, as it does a governmental, legal. It's just all kinds of, it looks at everything, man. Nothing can be without a specific frequency upon which to manifest. So the frequency of the universe is complete. We use that to look at what we're doing. It's just as simple. Ancient man did for zillions of years. All of a sudden, the age of science come along. Just crack and tell you that this ain't shit ain't true, because we can't measure it. The force you're talking, who gives a fuck? I can tell you have some Mars and your eyes can catch the color red, nigga. Your mind can discern what it is. So that doesn't end. It doesn't end, man. This is so old. We can't let a recent discovery or method of learning, which is pure observation, based on pure observation of material manifestation, because you have thoughts that you can't measure. So scientifically, you don't even have a thought in your head, nigga. You can't put that shit under no microscope. You can't even show it to me with a telescope. So scientifically, love don't exist because you can't put that in a bag. How much does this shit weigh? Huh? Justice, where's that at? What color is that? Is it rough or smooth? Right? Freedom? You put that in my knapsack. Now I'm gonna order some of that. Can I get it in the mail? So you begin to see that that's where they're going. When you see the dumbing down of America, it's the dumbing down of the whole planet Earth, man. Look at the church, man. They turned to everything because they just didn't want. They despised the Egyptians so much that they didn't want the whole world to know that they took the Egyptian religion, the Egyptian government hierarchy, the literature, lapped it all up in the Vatican, and been calling it the Roman Church ever since, man. And they're dumbing down the whole world because all the terms of everything you're studying, law, mathematics, science, botanics, genetics, anatomics is all fucking what? Latin. Well, how did it get Latin? How did it emerge and begin and originate? Well, in Europe, that's what they wrote. Bullshit. In Europe, they wrote Arabic, nigga.
Mm-hmm.
See, you got to look at the Inquisition. That's in the Capricorn age I mentioned at the beginning of the whole shit, right? And when Capricorn is a Caesar, too. Just like today, at the exact same rhythm, re-emanation of a frequency, the Moors in Morocco to this day are now petitioning the King of France for reparation, man. Claims because they were there. King Ferdinand and Isabella, they got that shit from Caesar. They didn't get that shit from right of claim. This Caesar got it, in a warfare script. It's a war where all is fair, So, they don't have no blood claim that. They're still claiming these people are coming back and say, yo, we got a right to come over here. Talk about niggas. We taught you niggas how to scrub lights off your asses when we first met you. We ain't coming and swap bucket train, nigga. We came to heal you disease niggas. Fucking maggot. And this is what it's about. So I look at that. Astrologically, how you going to be the pertaining race? Astrology is the pertaining race. This is that. The ninth place in everybody's chart, the ninth house in every human being's chart, and the chart of every nation, describes foreign relations. The ninth place gets its qualities from the planet Jupiter and the sign of Sagittarius. Both of them synonymously point to the skin. So, manifest the science of it Say a person is born with Mars, which is the planet of infection. It points to infection. Doesn't cause infection. Just points to that shit. It's at a 90-degree angle from Jupiter, which is the skin. It doesn't matter what color they are. They don't have a skin problem. Dealing with Mars. So it could be fever, blisters, rashes, infections. It can be bee stings, stabbings, burnings, scrapings, cuttings. You see, bleedings. Period. That happens no matter what you are, cat, dog, human being, you know. I've had cats in my life, right? As an astrologer, I'm just like, yeah, this cat was born right in my fucking living room, under your fucking coffee table at this time. And I know because I watched it. So I had this black cat, man, and he had Mars in his first house. And he used to be a fighter. So Mars is his first house, represents what you do the most, what you like the most, or what you engage in a lot. Your first lesson in life, or your primary lesson, all that. Attach to the word first for yourself. Okay. Now he had Mars there, which is cuts, scrapes, burns, for fighting and conflict and shit. This cat, when I started letting him go outside, comes in the house with a big old gash in his head that renamed there like every human being that I know with Mars in the first house. See, so it applies to cat and humans, it applies to cars. By a car, when Mars was in the first house, you end up having heating problems with that car because Mars is heat, right? Car catch on fire or crack because of heat or go head on because Mars represents head on, clashes. You see conflict and stuff like that. So when I saw, I've taken like 30 years of my life to see it, y'all, and studying hundreds of years of astrology and shit. They all said the same shit. I got into it to debate it, like for people who want to know it. I didn't start off believing in none of this shit. Mm-hmm. It's just a science of concurrence. One dude half read me. I had knowledge of the sun signs, like from the age of 9 to 16. I used to read a whole bunch of books. My grandmother had savings of books. She encouraged me to read astrology because she's trying to figure it out. Many heads, more heads better than one, right? So that was the thing. Anyway, I didn't take it seriously until I got older. And when I got older, I started making these comparisons. I started using the measure. See, a lot of astrologers don't measure. They don't know about the measure. They don't really put the true measure in any astrology books because they're very tight-lipped about their technique. Everybody knew astrologers would be out of a job. It's like if everybody knew science and anatomy and homeopathy, there wouldn't be a hospital open in the country. See? So everybody can tell time. How come everybody can't learn medicine? They can. They just don't do it in this country. They train you to be dumb because you can't be ruled if you're intelligent, man. You know that, right? so you can't be ruled if you know who the fuck you are. Eventually, you're bound to get sick and tired of this shit. So let me go and show you how they use the what they call the Chaldean order of the planets. In their order of speed, it is the moon, okay, which represents your mom, your family, your heredity, okay, your family. Remember that word. The next planet in their order is Mercury. So Mercury represents names and signatures and words and documents, okay? And then the next planet is Venus, which represents law, contract, consent, agreement, government. And it represents ownership, loyalness, right? And you got the next planet, or we call it a planet, luminary, the sun, which represents your sovereignty, your identity. And when the next planet in that order is Mars, which is enforcement and conflict and war and weapons, right? And you got the next planet in that order in terms of its speed is Jupiter, which is laws and, Ecclesiastics is all about Jupiter. It's guruism and the higher law and the expansive mind and the culture of the people, right? And then you got the planet in that order of succession. You got Saturn. Saturn, it deals with penalties and time, okay? It deals with Caesars, if you heard me earlier, season, taking, rapacity, rapacity, and rapaciousness. And Uranus is the next planet. It deals with independence. It deals with freedom. It deals with the people, humanity, nationality, right? And Neptune deals with ignorance and also deals with faith, belief, religion, and swindling and criminality, tricking. Right? And then you got Pluto, Neptune, Pluto, which is your life. Mort, death, your life and your death, your whole life, just like the transference of life from point A to point G, and from point B to point C. Point B being the present life, point B being birth, C being death, and from C back into the unletterable, back to A, where back again. So you look at this planetary cycle, and this is what the Chaldeans, who are the Babylonians, come from the ancient Cushites, right? Sumerians, Akkadians, Drip Akush, and this has been canonized by them. It existed for thousands of years before them in Africa. But at any rate, this order we find in relic there. So now we got these people calling themselves magistrates. I guess the same word, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Practice of the magistrate, all that. And then, so now let's show you how they do it. They come to your mother, which is the moon. They ask her for a signature on a document, which is Mercury, legal, for ownership of your sovereignty, which is enforced by the police, Mars, Jupiter, by laws that are made in ecclesiastical courts, and they draw penalties and losses unbeknownst to you for your freedom, right? For your freedom, unbeknownst to you for your life. Even do it in banking when you buy a home, which is the moon and Mercury. You sign that contract, which is Mercury, then Venus. You sign Mercury, then Venus, that contract. And then, the authority is passed. An attorney is one who passes, property, or who passes titleships and who passes ownership, right? Or, and then for Venus is ownership, and it's also law, and it is also attorneys, man. So that's why they are following the law, even though they're doing a bad thing to do it. Just like if I want to set your house on fire, the law is I must put the flammable shit in it and get a reasonable distance away so I don't burn myself, right? Okay? That don't mean that I'm actually doing good, but I am following law so as not to be hurt, right? If I can do shit to others. So, this is how they strip you of your sovereignty using your science, man. So when I look at the world, I'm looking at it in those terms from that perspective. I can't be trapped anymore by, doctrine. I use doctrine where it fits. I use it all. You understand? Wherever I can, wherever it serves me. Wherever it serves me. You see? And, once you understand the process, you understand the law, you can turn that, use that Chaldean order against them. Oh, this is my family name. My family name, that is the moon and Mercury. And I own it. Right? That is Venus and the sun. I, the sun, the sovereign, declare. You dig with my words in my mouth, Mercury. You dig? I say, goddammit, I'm the owner of me. You got me fucked up. You dig? Mars, I just project myself by my own will, right? To expand and benefit Jupiter from the establishment of the trust, which was managed by another, what they call that, fiduciary, which is Saturn, man. For my freedom, so that I can expand and pursue my dreams until my death. Yeah, I took that same order and turned it around on them, and this is what you do when you follow that course.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so open to questions, man, because I run into
Okay, for those that want to call in, give us a call at 626-414-3535. That's 626-414-3535. If you have any questions for Brother Raul, give us a call once again, 626-414-3535. You have any questions for him, Brother L, for right now?
Yeah, I was saying I was amazed how he was dropping it on how he can relate the science of cosmology to proclaiming your nationality and birthright papers, and being born, relate all that to that, So that's why this is my first time hearing it broken down like that.
I'd be glad.
Indeed, I told you this is one of the greatest astrologers that I've ever met. We do have a call. They're online, 740, area code 740. You're on the air.
Good evening, brothers. How's everybody?
Fine, brother. Peace.
How are you?
Okay. I got a two-part question. I need some understanding. You know, you hear so many things out here, but the brothers sound solid, so I need some solidification. When do we come into the age of Aquarius, and what are some things that's going to happen in the age of Aquarius? You know, you hear like the song, The Fifth Dimensions, the things they talked about in their song. And then thirdly, what about people who were born during the day of equinox, September 23rd?
Okay. I did the most of the dissertation was about how the age of Aquarius started in the age of 1452. And we broke that down into 180-year stages up to the present day. So you can that question has been answered extensively. That's been the entire conversation. But the second question, you're born on the September the 23rd, without a year, brother, and a time of day. You know, you're getting kind of general. I need a year.
I was born 1970 at 9:32 in the morning.
Oh, very good. And you get this time from who?
Well, it's what's on my birth certificate, so that's the general area. 9:32 a.m.
What city, Lord?
In California.
Okay, like in northern or southern?
Southern.
Okay, good. Then southern. You had issues with your lungs, your breathing, or you injured your arms before? Arms meaning collarbone, shoulder blade, upper arm or lower arm or hand or fingers, okay? Have you injured your arms, or have you ever had respiratory issues? And I'm talking about ever. I'm not talking about these last couple of weeks, okay? I'm talking about your youth, really.
You say, have I had anything wrong with my shoulder blades?
I said your arms, which are composed of your hands, your lower arm, your elbow, your upper arm, your shoulder, your collarbone, and your shoulder blades, and or your lungs or your respiratory.
Yes, okay. Yes, my arm.
All right, good. Then I can tell you a little bit about yourself here, okay?
Okay.
Then you're a very private person, man. You like your relationships and your contracts and your agreements to remain private. You don't want your business broadcast, especially by your partner, okay? You've had some issue with your lower digestive tract too, huh? One of your uncles military experience or deal with weaponry or violence or sports, okay? The pride, your self-image, this presentation, that's a whole lot to you, especially when you're seeking to benefit and interact with the public. I do see that your mom's, like, she had a very strong spiritual or religious or philosophical or educational or all the above push and urges and influence in you, or was a woman who played the mother role, all right? Third child should be a female, right? The product of the third pregnancy, all right? Because I'm going counterclockwise in this shit. I mean clockwise. I'm not going counterclockwise. 1999 through 2003, this was like a very serious period of adjustment for you in relationships and finances and shared resources. Was it not?
Pretty much a ballpark, yeah. You're right.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I can only ballpark because we have to actually hone in on your time of birth. That record of your time of birth is what time your head came out of the vaginal canal. You know, which is may very well be accurate, but I need to know when your blood was oxidized. So that time of birth is only a starting point, and you're so close to the beginning of Scorpio, the end of Libra, and your sun is in Libra. See, I'm concerned about the rising sign. But at any rate, mysteries and religion and trust Okay, let me take this back. Mysteries and religion, like you're real good at solving a research guy. You're the one who will research something to death, all right? And you will put your time and energy into knowing that and to discovering the unknown. And you had very strong trust issues, particularly with your pride and your love in life, how those two things go together. And betrayal of something that you like absolutely can't stand, but you love your privacy more than your arms. If we got other callers, I'll take the next one. If not, let me hear a response from this brother regardless, right? Speak, bro. What you think?
You know what, man? You definitely hit that in terms of research. You know, I will definitely research stuff and find out the truth. Man, you was spot on with that. Spot on, brother, and definitely appreciate it.
You got another caller, Lord, or another birthday?
Yeah, let me see here. We have area code 584. No, excuse me, 585. Area code 585. You're on the line.
Peace.
Peace.
What's up, Rock? It's Clayton.
It's who?
Clayton.
Ah, my man. It's
good, man.
It's my man right here. What's going on, Lord?
Hey, I had a question for you, man. Man, you've been dropping it always. Like, as usual, I got to the call a little bit late because, I didn't get a chance to. I didn't get to the Facebook post that you had.
That's why they got the download, man. That's why they got the download at Blog Talk.
I already know. You know how I work the downloads, man. I go crazy in the archives. But I had a question for you, man. So basically, I've been seeing a lot of information that's been coming out from all these astrophysicists. This Johnny-come-lately's talking about how the universe might be a simulation program, and based off all these cycles and these computer programs written into, black holes and all this. And I just wanted to get your input on that. I got a lot of background noise, so I'm gonna mute out, but I want to know what your intake was as far as them trying to come out and actually say that the universe is cyclical and it's based off of computer simulation, and basically like a lot of this stuff is like not predetermined, but the environment or the cycle has already been written. The code has been written into the program already, and I just want to know your take on that.
If that's the way you seek to illustrate the mathematical order of our universe, you want to use the similitude of computer logarithm, because that is how nature manifests and is measured and manifests on a cyclic frequency, then everything manifests off of a logarithm. When you apply the mathematics to it, it becomes a logarithm if you follow the actual sequence and count in order and keep it in its place. So, you see the Fibonacci. You also see the science of geometry, geometric constants. So they want to say that God is a computer writer or the creator, Allah, Buddha, whoever, whatever you want to call it, right, is the author of this all, wrote the logarithm, and now is just writing itself over and over again. That's a nice illustration. We use hieroglyphs and symbols of the zodiac in the ancient age. Now we in the Aquarian age using Aquarian symbology, okay, which is computers and technologies. And to present your Lord or your God in the form of the symbol of the age is coming, because in the age of Leo, lions were revered. In the age of Taurus, which you see remnants of their culture of the age of Taurus, like the Brahmins, they revered the bull. And, you see the Naga, they were in the age of Scorpio, which is reptiles and birds, you dig? And therefore totemism and totem poles, reptiles at the bottom and birds at the top. So, now we in the electronic age, they want to say God wrote a logarithm? Good. You
wow,
dig? That's how I see it.
Okay, I didn't piece that together, but that makes perfect sense. And I got one last question, man. I'm not going to take up too much time, man, because I know other people probably could benefit, a lot more than I can, because I'm a student. I'm a student of cosmophysics. Cosmophysics has changed my life, and it's not a game. But I have one question for you. with all the events that's been taking place and everything that's taking place, a lot of people are unfamiliar with this science and how real it is. What advice do you have for the people in these days and times when it comes to cosmology and cosmophysics and this science? Because a lot of people are unfamiliar with this, but from my studies, through cosmophysics and my studies through my own personal research, all this self, and you're only attracting and repelling, what you're here to experience. And I just want you to just kind of nail that point home, or just give your intake as far as what this science is and what you deem to be the most important thing as far as this information in these particular days and times, to stay focused and not be distracted, by a lot of the things that's taking place out here.
Wow. I thought them reporters at them, at them presidential addresses was extensive. Okay, Part A. Ask me Part A again. We'll try to tell people. Hold on a minute. Okay, what advice? I advise everyone to realize something that they're not looking at, okay? Your church, your educational system, which is born out of the church, is the culprit in demonizing this science. Mankind, the original man, the black man, the original man all over this planet except the Caucasian condemns this shit. So I'm done with that part. You got something bad. You think it's spookism. You ignorant as hell. You need to wake up, period. Okay? We in the age of Aquarius. We've been here for more than 500 years. Wake up. Right now. Secondly, you're going to benefit from knowledge, period. So it doesn't matter. Knowledge is the savior. See, it isn't astrology, really. I love astrology because it's a device that enables me to know things. I do predictive astrology, so when I do know the nature of the event before the event occurs. I don't know exactly how that nature is going to unfold, though. We just know what days there's that energy for violence, the energy for police activity. We know the stages of these things. So, I predicted these things on the radio, my whole squad. We had a discussion on it back in, 2009 on, some of those episodes we did on, what's the name of this? KFox57radio.net, and we did, then we went to Abundance Child and the Abundance Network, and we talked about these things, because of the upcoming tetrad. I do trace eclipses and Neros and several cycles. So the knowledge of it, now, because I knew about it back then, we discussed it, we went in on it extensively, and now it's all happening. It makes it a lot easier for me to accept. I am still deeply, deeply, deeply disturbed, but I am more disturbed at my own people than I am at these Caucasians that are killing our baby, because the only reason why they're doing it is because we letting them. So, my little brother couldn't come in the house and tell me with a black eye and a bloody nose and say he didn't fight back with that shit. You got punched in your nose, you did nothing, oh well, okay? So, but I'm disturbed by the fact that we not doing anything, man. We're talking about this stuff here. I don't want to talk about it, man. We need to do something about it. It's going to be something done about it because, it has to balance itself. If we did nothing, it's going to balance. We come back to balance, man. And that's what that tetrad moon thing is about in terms of current events. So if you can do the history on our discussions, over the years, you'll see that the knowledge of this science is accurate. Now, you may decide that it's not beneficial to know, and therefore you remain in the unknown with the unknown. But, what benefit comes of knowledge is freedom to act with that knowledge. Like when you did not know the fire was hot. Now, freely reach your hand out there and grab it. Nothing hot, no pot, nothing like that was on top of your stove or your oven, okay? Or your book of matches or your lighter. Now that you have knowledge that fire is hot, champ, you know that you can't turn the stove up way hot. You can't leave shit burning for too long. See, now you can use these things to efficiency. So, and then it is the same with anything because this is law. Not law made by a group of men or a society of people that share the same opinion. I'm talking and decide to enforce a policy. I'm talking about the nature of reality as it unfolds. You know now. Once you know a thing, we know that now iron ore grows around this type of rock, and at this level, we can go in and get it now, you see. So knowledge of this science shows you truly the nature of reality. Once you understand that, you can now benefit from the knowledge of the way things go. I mean, it's sincere proof. You know that it is cold in December, man. Well, what the fuck good use is knowing that? You did like if you don't know that it's gonna be cold, you're gonna have to deal with that cold at the level of not knowing what you usually people result in freezing to death, man. So you know the first people of the first people who survived the catastrophe that rendered them now the first people, right? they had to deal with the cold, man. So imagine knowing now when it gets cold gives you such an advantage. You know, knowing that you, the person, is going to have a Jupiter this week, you dig, on Wednesday. Now you can prepare for that instead of waking up Thursday and people be like, man, what the fuck was you? You know, you missed out. And you be like, damn, if I knew, I would have showed up, man. So you got that Jupiter in another way, as opposed to the way you could have benefited from, you know. And then you look, you know, that this corporation is about to have a Jupiter after they've been in a Saturn period. So now you can invest your money, you know, on the day that their Jupiter peaks. But, you know, the work that goes into tracking their benefit and their loss, their ups and downs, is an astrological measure. You got to be an astrologist. So to get the knowledge to be able to operate freely in the courtroom, you need to know the law. If you know the law, then they can't cut you in that motherfucker period, man. Come on, man. How many times we got to demonstrate that shit? You know, so, but if you don't know the law, what happens? You get shim, sham, flim, flam, bamboozled, you get hoodwinked and yanked, divested of all medals, and you serving time now.
Right.
Yeah, so you knowledge of the law in courtroom is as pertinent as knowledge of the law when you're dealing with physically, when you're cooking your fucking eggs in the morning, man, or frying your vegetarian meal, all right? It is intrinsic that you understand and recognize that the nature of man is written in the nature of the universe, because you can't separate the universe from the universe, man. Ain't nothing brought into it, don't nothing go out of it. It is everything at all, and it runs in a measurable mathematical pattern that under the mental construct of time. Understand, people say time don't exist. Well, neither do your thoughts, see? So you can eat a grape or eat anything. I don't care. Chew it and swallow, shit it out simultaneously, since there's no such thing as time. You know? You dig? So time is a process that is measured, and you begin to measure that process. So, you know, that's, they say it don't exist, but yes, it does. You know, that cycle, winter does exist, nigga. And it turns into spring does exist. And it exists for a period of time. And so does every day. And so does every cycle for everything that exists. You know? And I have observed this through this science of cycles and what happens in concurrence of cycles. I demonstrated for you with genetics and the birth of Noble Drew Ali. And you can watch again if this movement falls victim into obscurity. And so what is signs of genetics too? Because they're born in the same season. So they emerge and they rise in the same season. So you can follow the pattern of cycles. How the fuck do you know that paper is gonna burn when you set it on fire? Because you have seen it done 1,000 times. So how do I know what 2017 gonna look like? Because it falls in the framework of this science. And then when I look in the past, for 5,000 years, how many times do I got to measure it? I get to see it every 60 years in one form. I get to see it every 720 years in another form. I get to see it every 2,160 years in another form. So now, that after I make those measures after 5,000 years, I see this repetition. Well, what is going to lead me to not think that it's going to happen again when I see it in this zone? I don't want to be stupid to expect different results. I'd be crazy. So those who want to say that this science is evil, like you use it every day. When you look at your watch, when you wake up and go to work, when you decide that it's time to eat, you are in a cycle. Right. You're not constantly hungry. Even if you fast for 5 days, the hunger will only come in cycles. That is measurable. You see, once you measure, you find repetition, and that repetition is constant. I mean constant, man. I mean, you decide what constant is for your ass. Okay? But, you know, measure 10 years and see if it's constantly happening over a period of 10 years. Then measure 30. Then measure 90. You know, measure 700, man. Look for where it doesn't happen. That's what I got into the science doing. Yeah. This nigga talk this shit. Mom don't rule the motherfucking thing. I didn't understand what the word rule meant. So, you know, you people here, especially nowadays, the internet, you got all these pseudo-astrologers, man. These niggas that don't know how to measure a motherfucking thing. Okay? And so they will tell you anything, man. You know, when you make a pronouncement and an astrologer makes a reading, he should have a date for that. He should have a time for that, a time frame. You know, you must really know the very moment of a person's birth, the very moment of a government's birth. You know, the very moment of anything that you are putting under this lens, you must know. Works from a triangulation. And it begins on a basic, simple level, man. You know, you don't start off being a mathematician. You don't start off doing calculus. Astrology is like calculus. But it is composed of several different measures that are like addition, subtraction, multiplication. And from that time, from that measure, comes the right date to look at. That date to look at will illustrate a particular alignment. And that alignment will reveal the nature of reality. I mean, it has done so. So, you know, that's what I would did to answer your question. Is there any part of your question that I didn't answer, Clayton?
Yeah, you answered his question. You also answered a whole lot of other people's questions, too. We do have another birth date. It's March the 16th, 1977 at 1:31 p.m.
(1:31 p.m.)
Mm-hmm.
Wait, give me a second. 15th or 16th? What did you say again?
1-6.
Okay. Well, at 1:31 p.m. Is this the person that I'm reading, or I'm reading a third party?
Yes, this is the person.
Okay, you injured your lower leg before? Ankles, shin, or calf?
Knee. Yeah, ankle. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, crybaby, overprotective mother. You want to be a mother, or you mother everybody. It doesn't matter. You care, and you're such a protector. You're hard on the outside. You soft on the inside. Mushy. Okay. Getting money is an uphill struggle. I know it. All right, the last 2.5 years will totally change your whole your pleasure paradigm. Okay, like from 2015 back to 2012, the end of 2015 to mid 2012. You know, and like particularly 2014, 2013. All right, you suddenly decided to take a different moral approach to it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's because of betrayal, right, in relationships, right, resentment and jealousy or force and coercion in your partnerships.
Betrayal and lack of knowledge.
Okay. Right now, it's your diet and your work and your routine that's going under a reorganization, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You have issues with transportation or education? Issues with work because of unfinished education?
My whole the student energy is all teachers. Say again.
I said that your daily routine, your work is your employment situation being affected by a lack of education, or you need to take some classes that you recently interested in expanding, and there's some limitation involved there.
Yeah, I did start taking some classes.
Yeah. Did you just recently change your diet, Mama, or your eating routine, or your health routine and regimen? You should.
You're right on point, guys. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Now, so since 2008, your whole partnership paradigm, your desire for it has totally changed, right? Are you still emotionally detached, or did you get emotionally detached? You practicing emotional detachment, or which one is it? Is it detachment and sexuality and emotionality is what I'm pointing to. I don't want to get too personal. You know what I'm talking about,
no,
right?
You're fine. I was detached, but I'm not now. I'm more attached.
Okay, yeah. So now you're getting into the sensitivity and the overwhelming of the dreaminess of it, the idealism. Do not let your ideas get you tripped up, because you're gonna get reality checked. Okay.
Oh my God! In 2012, I damn sure did get reality checked, and I'm seeing it now unveiled now. You know. So you're right.
Okay. Yeah. And you're the type of person you want to know right now, right? Your mother was a hothead, or was it some other figure?
Yeah, she was my mother. She's a Leo.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm reading the moon. I'm not reading Leo, the sign of Leo. Okay. Leo,
well,
you
yeah,
got
my mother. She's more of the aggressive energy than my father.
Yeah, she was unpredictable with her shit, right? Out of nowhere with her shit, like she was like, wow, like what? Didn't even see that coming. Like I didn't even know. Like that didn't even matter neither. Ignorance was no excuse, right? Religion, you have a thing about spiritualism, religion, and chemistry, or biology, or something in the substrata, like microscope, something unseen. So your whole thing about solving mysteries was an expansive, like at the age of 19, maybe a little bit earlier than that, because women develop faster than men. So I would like to say from 16, 17-ish to like 20-ish, your whole thing was religion, medicine, or philosophy, or some shit like that. Yeah. You're getting over the ignorance of it all, right? And, you became quite a aggressive person, man, You an aggressive partner too, right?
Right.
Very assertive. Yeah. You like military men dressed in uniform, or athletic men, huh? Yeah.
I like intellectual.
Yeah, well, Aries is a sign of I'm reading your birth chart, not your current progress, right? Which Venus is probably in Gemini now. But first, you went through your manly men, your macho men, right? The handsome men. Then you went into the men that we're dealing with.
No, hold on. I never was into that. I always wanted the ugly God, the one who I didn't have to deal with no competitive energy from.
So you said competitive what?
I didn't want to have to deal with the competitive guy or being mistreated. So I always wanted the guy who had some insecurities, I was fine with me.
Very well. Very well. You're still describing Aries, all right? Now, let me move forward. Because I'm tracing Venus's motion. There was a time where the type of man that you were looking for was stable financially, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's because Venus only had 6 degrees to go into Taurus, then it went into Gemini. So, like, you were born in 77. Let me read something else. And then you're very, how can I say? You're supposed to be self-employed, all right?
Okay.
End of story. Okay. You don't take all this well.
I am. I always had an issue with dumb people telling me what to do. And it was okay that we was broke initially. That's why you treat all your aunts. That's why you treat all your aunts and uncles like equals, like they're your equal or beneath you, because they're not smarter than you. Period. Yeah, I know. Right. Yeah. Okay. So see, now Venus is moving in the 12th house too, right? So you've been a little bit more free in your mindedness with regards to companionship now, huh? Yeah, I'm definitely more open-minded.
Yeah.
Wow, God.
Very well. Is there another caller?
Thank you, God. I'm over here grateful. We do have some other callers on the line. Area code 973. 973, your line is open. Okay, now it's
Hello.
Hey. Hello, Goddess.
Hey, Queen Qadira, it's Tova. Is this Haku on your show tonight?
I'm so glad you called in. Yes, this is Haku in the flesh.
I'm so funny. I called in. I'm like, oh shoot, I gotta call. It's just like I just wanted to hear your voices, and I needed that. You already know, Queen. So I called in. I'm like, wait, hold on. Am I calling Cosmophysics? And sorry, I didn't even be so loud. I'm bugging out. There's baby sleeping. Sorry. Anyway, I didn't even know that I pressed 1, but I'm with my Capricorn friend right now, so I don't want to mess with time. Capricorns with their time. But Raku, I love you, and sending my love to your mama. And I would love to build with you, and I'm going to definitely listen to this call. Queen Qadira, I love you. Send my love to King Alim. And keep doing what y'all doing. Send you love, light, and protection.
Well, Goddess, do you want Raku to give you a little breakdown? If so, give him your birthday, birth time, and birthplace.
Okay, sure. All right, Raku, is there other people on the line that want to go in before me? Because I've spoken about Raku before. I study all the time, but November 5th, November 5th, I got to the Scorpio, so that's okay. And that is 1982, Patterson, New Jersey at 12:43.
AM or PM?
Oh, sorry, PM.
43. All right.
12:43 p.m. Yeah, Patterson, New Jersey, 1982, November 5th. Wow, that was really. Uh-oh. I hope my Capricorn friend isn't all upset.
Why would they be upset?
Because, I'm like, hold on, I'm on the phone right now, and you don't want to mess with Capricorn's time.
Yeah, well, this person that I'm reading got Mars in Capricorn, right? And they're very patient, or they know how to act patient when they're not. Mars in Capricorn, is like this type of imagery, as opposed to Mars in Aries, so you can understand what Mars is. Mars' weaponry is anger. It is impatience and selfishness, and it is aggression and assertion. Like more than anything, for any human being, no matter what culture you come out of, Mars is aggressive energy, man, and anger. Okay, so when we look at it in Capricorn, it is very calm. So this person is very, precise with the execution of their will. And their lesson in that comes from loss in relationship. They had to deal with a relationship. This person also has another exaltation. Jesus. They learn self-love through loss in relationship. And they also learn the nature of fairness. They become as strong as Hercules in their heart. As a result of trauma in relationships. But they resent to death like broken promises like this. That's ridiculous. Right? I know what you say, damn it, is their motto, right? In forms. And because this person is, they don't forget a motherfucking thing. Now, yeah, they don't forget nothing. Now, I don't remember reading you before. I love the way y'all made me sound. That would be generated naturally. The moon conjuncts my ascendant. So this person here depends on mama, or the motherly, caring, emotional approach to relationship is definitely a necessity or a deal breaker. Okay? So, and very serious concern for finances, like you never have enough. Worry is a waste of your imagination. All right? But Venus and Jupiter and Scorpio, I know you had to reassess your whole present principle too, but your whole spending, your whole economic value system all the way around the board met a wrecking and a rebuilding, right, in the last 3 years?
Yep. It's not. I'm not in. I even had a little rhyme. I'm like, I'm not into, term swapping, no flesh swapping. If you want to go further, you got to be a soul merger. That's my little motto.
Well, I can dig it. You now are reshaping your ideals. By the time Saturn gets down and deep into Sagittarius, we're looking like 2 or 3 years from now, right? That's next. Yeah, that's next. Like first it was your social network at the beginning of the beginning of the fall last year, September. All right. This was the beginning of your social restructuring, right? Your network, your toolery, your electronics, or appliances, and now see, but there's a very wide gap. So there's like 2 years you got to work and restructure that before your ideals and your second reality check, like the one you had in 2009, 2010.
Oh, you're so right about that, Rock. I've been picking up those reality checks and cashing them in so they don't turn into karmic debt. And the Saturn return has taught me so much. I literally took the red pill and I've learned so much. And everything that I thought was real was taken away, and it's just a beautiful thing. I literally gained from what I've lost. It's a beautiful thing.
That's a natural delineation for Saturn too. But see, you got to prepare for when after Saturn moves out of your 12th place, right? So your whole spiritual belief system is being restructured too. When it moves out of there. When it moves out of there, 2018 and 2022, it crosses over your Mars. That's energy drain. Get ready to see a lot of your initiated action and plans challenged by time factorization. You get that?
Right.
Right.
You're like the Toba Whisperer, Ra'aku. I love you, and I love your mama too. And peace to all the family, here in Ascended. And thank you so much. I've learned so much from cosmophysics, and it's amazing how everything, as above, so below, and cosmophysics literally gives you the mathematics to the science, and I'm just so grateful for that. Like, there's no one like you, Ra'aku, and people best respect. And, yes, he is allowed to type in all capital letters. Aren't you a rising Capricorn?
Am I what?
Aren't you a rising Capricorn?
My rising is Cancer.
It's Cancer. But your moon is in Capricorn.
At 22 degrees where your moon is.
Oh, that's why I'm so in love with you. Oh, and listen, I'm looking at you right now. Isn't the moon in Capricorn right now? Isn't your moon in Capricorn?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, I'm looking at you right now, and you're looking beautiful.
In opposition, huh?
Isn't the moon in Capricorn? This is a full moon in Capricorn right now, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, you're looking fly. You're looking good. I'm looking at you right now.
Thank you.
Okay, love you all. I don't want to hold up the lines. I want to give everybody a chance, but thank you so much. I'm going to definitely listen to this again and let it marinate and, let it shine.
All right. Make sure you get the download because, I'm looking dead at your chart right now with that,
Yeah, I definitely will. And, Ra'aku, I send you messages, but you haven't read them, so just check that out. Because there's some things that I had to ask you and some things that, were epiphanies that I wanted to share that, you got to be careful with sacred knowledge. It's only, for, my people who are my equals who are co-creating the sequel. So that's what's up.
Okay, very well.
Okay, everybody. Peace and love, fam.
Peace and love.
Peace and love, Toba. We love you.
I love you too, sis. Love ya.
All right, we got area code 910. Area code 910, you on the line.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace, family. Peace. Birth date, March 1st, 1988, 2:51 p.m.
Pisces in the house.
2:51 p.m.
Yes, that's what I think. 2:51 or 2:52.
All right, 1 minute ain't gonna really hurt.
Oh.
It's hours that I'm concerned about. Yeah. Okay. Not here. 1 minute gonna hurt. Boom. Let's see. This person here is a Cancer rising too. Listen to all these Cancer rising. And Pisces with a Cancer rising. Wow. This person thinks they know all the details about religion, man. Okay. This is you. You study religion real hard. Yeah. Huh?
Yeah, it's me.
I get another Mars and Capricorn. Look at that. So you're another person that's in the self-restraint real hard. You appreciate self-restraint, right? You idealize your partner being, self-restraint. You met some serious disappointment in having expectations and ideas about your partnerships and their self-restraint and your partner's sense of cruelty. Reality checks with that regard, and resentment and love because of that. But, that's all kinds of self-improvement prompts involved in that. And had that not happened, you would not have evolved to the will that you have now, nor the self-control, right? Didn't you just recently go through a disciplinary or responsibility issue regarding children or a project that you and brainchilded? Huh?
Yes,
yeah.
Indeed.
Oh,
indeed.
Yeah. All right. So, you got that Jupiter, Venus, and Aries at the top of your shit, right? You need to slow the fuck down with your impulsive self, right? Yeah, that was a serious lesson over the last year or so, right?
Indeed.
Yeah. Okay. Get this shit. Boy, I know you love them details, them clothing, so that clothes or your fingernails, okay? You hate getting your fingernails dirty for any reason. So let somebody else. Okay? Like, people don't really understand that about you, right? Like, all that dirty shit on your hands. Like, that's like borderline post, what do they call them people? They don't want to say. Yeah, she borderline that. If she not that. So, that just means that her mind, her memory is vicious. So she had, to read something on that, and that fucked her up. Like, not shaking hands. You don't put your hands on her. She doesn't want to touch that because, and she's not particular about what she eats, right? Very particular.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. Yes. So see, all of that is the same energy. So where it might get on a nigga nerves that you got something to complain about, is actually because your mind can't function without spotting what needs to be improved. Your talent is, you got a natural talent for that. If you can find a way to benefit from that, financially, you have it. Now, what's really deep is put them together in Aries says that benefit through like contracts, legalities, government law, benefits through a self-initiated project. All Cancer risings get this line. For those who don't know, all Cancers and Cancer rising. I'm not speaking to the Pisces part. I'm speaking to the Cancer part, the worldly physical persona part, like astrological straw man, your avatar, your physical form, not the will that operates it, right? Which would be Piscean. So the method of operation, the approach, needs to be self-motivated, self-contained, self-automated. Autonomy is a motherfucker in relationship. That's for all the big, or who owns or who has authority over this. That should be established from the outset before any expectation gained in any interaction being Venus, Jupiter being the benefit, and using that on the negative because Jupiter and Venus are always good because Jupiter can mean too much, and Aries is like impulsive, too impulsive, and Venus is spending, or Venus is your mindedness with money, or business partnership because that's in the 10th place. So while Saturn is trining that, like you have opportunity to solidify such things as these two symbols represent. But you as Saturn moves into your partnership, house of partnership, you may find that there were certain things concealed from you. And I say that because the indicator for that Jupiter and Venus is intrinsically connected to Mars because it's in Mars's house of Aries. See? That means that your partnerships and your contracts, your agreements, your plans and schedules, all that is on the 7th place. It works with and promotes that which is in the 10th place. They don't operate independent one of another. All right? But you're going to make sure that you don't lose out on any contractual workings or negotiations in your business undertakings for the sake of the fact that the hidden causes or ignorance of the details is going to get you late. I guarantee you, you're going to bite your tongue or your lip at it. You know, you're going to experience some, I wish I could have, I should have not, I had it, I didn't think that. You did not that. That's just from Saturn approaching all that shit. That ain't even happening yet. It's in Sagittarius, your sixth place now. So it operates through Jupiter. So you know, you're moving, mobilizing, trying to expand with some degree of limitation in timing and other people's involvement, investors or other people's energy to kick it off. You know, I don't know how to word it other than that. You know, let me look at something else that's going on with you. All right.
Right. I also meant OCD.
Huh?
No, I was just saying I meant OCD, not COD, but OCD.
Yeah, word. Obsessive compulsive disorder, yeah. With regards to, but see, I wouldn't say that it's that extreme. She's just very conscious of her diet or very conscious of what's in the food or what she's eating with or when she goes out to eat or something like that. It can manifest in all those ways, don't see, all at once.
Indeed.
Yeah. All right. Was that good? Or do I need to
That
go
was
on
good. Is it something more so? What should I be focusing my energy on right now?
Well, it depends on what you're trying to do. You know, knowledge of self and independence and the freedom to move and all of that is the order of the day. You are a Cancer rising, so what you should be focused on is your health, your routine, your services rendered or received. Your you know, you gotta organize your fucking work. You know that. So you know what work. Yeah, and that's what you should be focused on right now in terms of what will cause you shortcomings 7 years, 3.5 years from now. See, so you know, like, what are you gonna be focused on today? Today, personally, like your moon is in Capricorn, so there had to be some issue of responsibility and some sense of urgency, like yesterday or the day before, right? You know, and or coming up, because that's
Indeed.
Right.
Indeed.
So like,
give thanks. Give thanks. Do you have a?
All right. Yep. His number is 516-881-6992. So that you can get up with him, so you can support him for his skills. Brother L, you should do yours.
Okay. Mine is March 28th, 1953. I was born.
All right, hold on 1 second. I want to add to my phone number. Like I know people all over the world might hear this broadcast, right? I work within a time parameter, y'all. Between 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern. And phone calls for astrological consultation, you know, they're not welcome after 7 o'clock, and a lot of people miss it every day anyway. So, you know, I'm really uptight about that. Please don't do it. Yeah, but I am honored to dazzle you for 5 minutes at any time within that time frame, you see, for free, right? I'll give anyone who calls me in that time frame 5 minutes, as long as I'm not busy reading someone else. If I answer my phone, more than likely you can get a 5-minute check and verify to check the veracity. And I'm not going to deliver it any differently than you hear me on the radio right now, okay? You know, if you want me to speak in proper English, I want an extra $1,000. Because I love my language, all right?
All right.
The brother said March the 28th. Oh, let me get that in.
Yeah, 1953.
All right.
12:01 p.m.
What did I do wrong? 1953.
Those of y'all who are in the chat room, y'all can call in to 626-414-3535 so that you don't get cut off. Sometimes it continues through, but again, that's 626-414-3535.
Did you say PM or AM, bro?
PM.
Now, I swear to goodness, this is another cancer rising. Right, let's see. You injured your ankle, your lower leg before, your Achilles tendon, your calf, or your shin. One of those.
Yeah, knees.
Okay. Not the ankles, not the ankles, the shin, or the Achilles tendon, or the calf muscle, or bone, or tibia.
Sometimes I have trouble with my ankles. Shins in early in the morning time.
Okay, and what about your molars? You have all your molars?
Yes. I have little back problems at times.
You have molars on?
I'm a what now?
Molars. Do you know what they are?
Molars? Oh, no. I don't have those.
Okay, right. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. So you are you the chief protector, huh? You know, authority, athlete, or action figure, right? You know, in your youth, in your prime, you was up there with either competition in medal, or in medals, or self-initiation. Now this is deep. That's your highest potential. You know, self-pride. This is self-image, man. You've had serious lessons in that, like from 2010 to 2012 or 2009, like that, right?
Okay.
Yeah, but you know, knowledge of history is your shit, like memory and shit, right? And empathy for people. You had to learn how to be appropriately empathetic, you know. That's like, you know, like to feel for the right person, especially through your friendship circle, right? Accident prone. You been in a car accident, you had an impact to the face or head, you hitting the head or face?
Have I ever been smacked in the head and face?
Yeah, and I'm not smacked. Hit in the head, an impact. IMPAC. Yeah, okay. Yeah, and death as a child, you discovered death real early, you know. And
yes, I did.
And look at these Virgo moons, man. You know, I just understand something. Let me interject this here. It pertains to you personally, but it pertains to everybody listening to this show. If I get another cancer while the sun is in Cancer, you did.
We roll together.
Yes.
God, we done lost the God. On your reading, you dig.
What?
Hopefully we'll catch him back. But like he said, you know, you can call him and he'll give you a free reading for 5 minutes. Probably if you want a little more, you know, you'll need to compensate him, which will be a good idea. I'm just going to give his number real quick. It is 516-881-6992. Also, while we have some time, before he calls in, we will be having...
Okay.
Let me give it again. 516.
Got it.
Oh, you got it? 516-881-6992. Okay. And while we're waiting on the guy to call back in, I wanted to at least do some announcements. Okay. We do have another conference that's coming up. You can go to dralimelbay.com and then go to the bottom where you see calendar of events, and then you'll see that we're having a conference in September. It's the Universal Wellness Workshop. The Indigenous Cosmic Golden Ray Order of Melchizedek and the Healing Wings Institute presents the Melanin Conference, Holistic Health and Wellness Expo. Indigenous Cosmic Golden Ray Order of Melchizedek, which is also short for ICROM. It's going to be September the 23rd, 24th, and 25th. We also have the agenda posted, and you can also reserve your space. If you want to get a hotel, there's also hotels as well that you'll be able to get into, or you can stay on the land.
All right.
Okay. Now, for those who don't know what ICROM is, as my wife stated, Indigenous Cosmic Golden Ray Order of Melchizedek. Indigenous meaning that sprung forth from the land, those who are the oldest, most aboriginal, most original lineage, heritage, that are on planet Earth. All right? Then, of course, cosmic, meaning universal, dealing with prana or chi or key energy, also referred to in Christianity as Holy Spirit, also referred to as Varel, vital energy, universal life force energy, etc., etc. In Hawaii, it's called Kahuna Mana. So cosmic is talking about energy. So the indigenous cosmic, then golden. The energy is golden. Gold energy, or the color gold, deals with, of course, currency and current. In particular, current is high current. All right? High current is, right? High current. Brother Raku is trying to get back online. So
Okay.
We're going to try to get him back on, but let me finish this. Golden is dealing with, of course, the color of the sun. So healing energy, healing rays, the rays of the sun. So indigenous cosmic, golden, and then ray, R-E, ray, as in the rays of the sun, as also in Ra, or Ray, Atum Ray, Amen Ray, Amen Ra. So that is the re part. And then, of course, water, dealing with Mayat, dealing with balance, reciprocity, etc. And then, of course, Melchizedek, which is actually Heru Malkuth Sutek, which is, of course, Melchizedek is the Hebrew/Greek name. All right? But the ancient Kemet name is Heru Malkuth Sutek, or Malkuth Sutek. Malkuth is a name of Heru, and Malkuth deals with the Sphinx, which symbolizes that looks over the two horizons, eastern and western. They also refer to as the double horizon. Heru Malkuth is also the divine fatherhood, which, that is, basically was developed from the Heru Malkuth. Became the great god, Ra, in his primordial sovereignty. And in this phase, we find that the double Hamarkis, which the word Hamarkis comes from Heru Malkuth, the sun god of the two-folded horizons, basically claims the divine origin or the virgin's child, all right, that was not physically begotten by God the Father, but was begotten in the sense of, just like in Islam, there's a difference between Walid and Ibn. Ibn would be physical bringing forth by birth, while Walid would be adoption. So you will find in the New Testament where it speaks about that we are all the adopted children, sons and daughters of God. So adopted means that you have a right to this lineage or heritage of spirituality if you can sync your will with the will of God. Symbolically, that's what we're talking about. So in the ritual, the ancient Kemetic ritual, Tamarian Egyptian ritual, Heru raises up and say, I am the twin lions, the heir of Ra. All right? So we know that Ra was born, Ra says the tear is born, that humans was born from the tear of Ra. And that word is the word Misram. And the word Misram is Hebrew, all right, for Misram, but its origin from Hebrew is ancient Kemetic, which is Misram, in which that means born from the tear of Ra. But it also is the origin of the word Muslim or Muslim, all right, as it evolved later on. right? And of course the R, the letter R became the L, and of course, the E, became the O, became the U, et cetera, et cetera. So we see the evolution of the word, but Misram in its original sense meant born from the tier of Ra, in reference to human beings. So we are all Muslim, which what Brother Todd speaks of, tissue, muscle, flesh, et cetera, et cetera. So this is just something to think about. We have Brother Ra back yet?
Yes.
All right.
All right, family. Phone is ringing. I'm going to turn the volume up. He tried to call back in, but because it's after 10.
It's peace.
Peace.
Like, it double fall off. Like, I don't even know where I left off in his joint. I still got his chart up here, though.
Well, he would love to hear that.
Yeah, you asked me whether I ever hit his face on the head.
He got Neptune and Saturn in Libra, where the brother Noble Drew Ali had Jupiter and Uranus. So, his response to what Drew put forth and projected with regard to that energy is what he has said where Drew had that. If you really listen to that, you'll get it, maybe, right? But, his reaction, his response to the planets he has in Libra to what Drew had in Libra. So they just see the relationship between him and the prophet, right? Without him even telling me this shit, or to the prophet's message, influence that he has Neptune. It really moves his spiritual sense of being, his whole belief system, and his whole spiritual discipline change, and, because it's in the fourth house, it shows, his relationship also on a separate note, like his domestic situation, his family, his father, or his disciplining parents, put it that way. And in 1981, you see how old is he? Yeah. 1981 would have been a very, 82 and 83. 81, 82, and 83, but particularly 81 and 82. Like the close to the beginning of that cycle that I just mentioned, that phase, that is where his situation, his ideals with regards to deception and or health and relationships, or healthy relationships, health and relationships, and healthy relationships emerge. Lessons in deceit and betrayal and being let down. This is destined to repeat itself in form, not necessarily in terms of any loss or any bad thing, but a resystemization, a rebuilding of the values regarding relationship is coming up soon, like in the next 3 years. He must focus on his health now, his diet, like every 10 years or every 7 years, really. Every 7 years, every 14, every 21 years, we go through a reshaping, our metabolism reforms, and this is all ancient knowledge. You get listeners of it from the stories of Tahuti and how he generated himself every 7 years. But if you look at your own personal growth and physical and development, socially and disciplinarily, if that's even a word, disciplinary-wise, then you're gonna he's reshaping and rebuilding to do that, restructuring every 7 years, and especially when we're getting older. And that 7 years is a fourth of a cycle. You can break that into a fourth and into a fourth and into a fourth and into a fourth. It's in a measure because the law of four, physical manifestation, everything needs a platform. Manifest even down to the seasons until, morning, noon, evening, and midnight, right? That whole thing. So that fourth thing, so we're applying that there. And this brother, he's learned some serious lessons about spending too. He done fucked up some money, all right, especially like in 2001, 2000, and after that, it was all a ball for a minute, okay? He learned about that. Okay, he benefits severely, or he lost severely from those benefits. He lost those benefits quickly through impulse activity, balling. Or overextending himself, right? He has a very strong taste of appetite, but money is something that he should never be able to run out of, right? He has Jupiter and Taurus, but his appetite speaks to that, right? But it's conflicts with his desires and his loyalties, you know, and so he's had to learn from that. But see, this brother was born in the 50s, so he's not going to be a typical adult. You know, he's on his way to his second Saturn return, so a restabilization of his life and career and all of that shit is in mind, or lifestyle. It's not career, right? He's thinking about how he's getting older and what have you, you know, and basically, I mean, without him being responded, I don't know where to go from there with it. Oh, one more thing I can definitely give him: that brotherhood, fraternity. That's what he likes, you know, that sense of nation, nationality, community, and backing and support and interaction and alliance and networking and brotherhood, you know. He came here to learn that initiation, knowledge, as opposed to opinion. Like this cat is on some, I know, and I asked you what you know. I didn't ask you what you thought.
Wow.
You're right on time with that.
Yeah.
He said you right on time with that. Did you hear him?
Yeah, I heard him. Because he really that specific, so people don't know that, right? He said, "Yo, what do you know about such and such?" And that person says, "Well, I think that." He says, "No, wait. But I asked you what you knew." And if he's not there forward, that's how the fuck he feels. Okay, you know, he wants to know. He didn't ask you what you thought. You know. And that's your purpose here, to know. So everything is a learning experience, even, you know, all your money, all that shit. You learn to detach from that. You know, you learn how to engage these people and having that all in the emotional place. At one time, you were easily upset about your money. You could easily explode. That was your whole shit. Your temperance, lessons in temperance. And if it wasn't you being explosive, it was you dealing with explosive situations, right?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. Was you the last one?
Not as much as I used to.
No, because you're a senior now. You're wise now.
Right.
Very, very fucking wise. Intuitive to death, too. Like, if you ignore your intuition, you still learning lessons in ignoring your intuition because you can disregard that shit for a reason, you see. No, that's where you fuck up at. Even for your whole life, your lesson is intuition.
All right.
I'm not talking about the gut feeling that you use to argue with that voice in your head. Like, that voice in your head is never wrong, Lord. It's all in your face. Astrologically, I say not completely because the first house rules your face. So in my language, you got all Ronald's all up in your face. Science of history and family and heredity and birthright all up in your face.
Oh, yeah.
All in your mouth. Astrologically, you know, like you carry it like a mustache and shit. You know, they say you got your heart on your sleeve. You carry that knowledge of self all in your mouth, all on your upper lip and shit. So you constantly projecting. There's no loss of interest in that regard.
That's true.
Very right about that. Yeah.
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 Yeah, see, we think that we choose our path, you know, we really think that. But, you know, you've been given a path to walk on. And, you know, you walk it. And you either walk it with a pair of brand new shoes or you walk it with some raggedy kicks. You can walk that motherfucker. I'm telling you. And see, otherwise I wouldn't know nothing to tell you about yourself here. You know?
Okay. There you got me.
Yeah.
He said, you got him, brother. All right, yeah, we do. You know we got a line of people. All right, here's the next.
Yeah, brother. I would like to know. Yeah.
First, he would like to know when is the birthday. There's nothing come before the match.
Yeah, it's April the 19th, 1969. And I think you gave.
Wait, slow down. What was it again? Was it 19th?
April the 19th, 1969.
Okay, April. 69. Well.
And I think you gave me the time.
Here we go.
I think you gave me the time, 3:34 p.m., something like that.
Okay, we're gonna see, because something like that means that there's no certainty, but I know a way to find almost certainty.
Okay.
All right. 69, 39, as you said. 3 what?
3:34 p.m.
Oh, okay. 34. All right, p.m. Let's get this here. Oh, we got a different one. Leo rising. Okay, that's only if you can verify from your issue with your feet, the skin on your feet, your heels and your bones and your ligaments, but it deals with everything beneath the ankles.
Yeah, feet issues. Is that what you're saying?
Okay, good. That's all. Yeah, that's all I need. Trust issues too, man. Faithful relationship, man. Trust issues through a FATEFUL, through a faithful relationship.
Right.
And the establishment of vision through that relationship. And because you got the North Node in the Father degree, man, you got to learn how to go with the flow. You can super detail oriented ass. Like, you think everything can be perfect? I want everything to be perfect. I just want everything to be perfect.
That's how I used to feel until I learned how to go with the flow.
Everything will work out, Lord.
Yeah, well, now I do know that everything does work out. I got that down pat.
Yeah, well, okay. You're born in '60s, so yeah, I get it. You in your late 40s, rolling up on it on your jubilee. So it's been really the last 8 years. It's been about social reconstruct, and not even of your own working as well as of your own working. Like those friends that ain't on the same page as you, you ain't been talking to them, you ain't seen them, you ain't heard from them.
Right.
You ain't cut them off. You just ain't on the same. We ain't on the same page.
Right.
I don't got time for that shit.
Right.
And yeah. So, but the money mindedness, like you study on some finance because you're a comfort monger. You need to be comfortable, man, no matter what you're doing, and you act mentally active. You can get irritable, man, if shit gets boring. You need to activate your mind. Like far-reaching vision is one quality you possess with that. That manifests itself the best when you're in a quiet environment and the solitude of your home. And so, that's where you would like to be, in a very cozy environment. This is where your mind operates the most. Now, let's get into this recent development would be Saturn, right? Running through Sag, which is your fifth. So you're learning that all work and no play and no energy for or time for any play, because of serious mindedness towards motivating yourself to be more expansive, right? You're trying to relocate or move up, and there's a structure or a protocol in your way, or there's responsibility issues that keep you from enjoying yourself fully. It can manifest in both ways or one or the other. But that has been a trend. Your ideals were smashed, though. That was the last event, like August of 2015 till October. Like that's where a lot of dreams, you face your ideals, or you restructure your ideals, you rebuild your vision, and you're trying to put that shit into expansion now. Because it requires structure. It requires organization. It requires a plan. It requires a step-by-step active, proactive procedure. And without that, you waste energy. Okay? So, and that is the forecast for the next 3 years. So you have 3 years with which to motivate, mobilize, and activate, right, and expand. But it must be done according to plan, step, procedure, and it will not happen without other people's resources or other people's reinforcement. Man. So the stability is that you have to have some dependable people. You have to your plan has to be fucking rock solid, and anything overboard is like a waste, and that will be the lesson learned. You get it?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Okay, now this is deep. You have the same, it's similar, very close to what the brother Noble Drew Ali had. He had Uranus in Libra. So knowledge, Uranus, was translated into the word Uranus, awareness, knowledge, awakeness, enlightenment too, of the law, Libra. This also came, with sudden change of partnership too. sudden change of ideology with regard to partnership and sudden change of mentality. Then Jupiter, which the brother knows, he had within close range Jupiter to Uranus. So the expansion of that, but this comes to you in the sign of Virgo. So, it's split right there at the cusp, but still the knowledge and expansion of the law manifested as Jupiter progressed into Libra. Now, this is going to happen later in life, man, at the end of your life. Like, you don't really see the benefits of it. Like, so there's a lot you haven't done. There's work you need to do. Right, transformations you got to make. Now, if you made them recently, they should have been made like 2010, 2008, 2009. You want to see this shit come to fruition for real. You get what I'm saying? So, you still got more to do. And what kind of questions you got, bro?
Right. And you said that Jupiter was in which house?
When you were born,
Right.
Jupiter is in the second sign.
Second, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't want to get into houses because I have not rectified your chart to the minute. It is so close to the second cusp.
Gotcha.
It is so close to the second cusp, and it's in the second sign. It doesn't matter if it's in the second house mathematically. It's in the second sign, so that has everything to do with morals, values, work ethics. Like you spent money on clothes at one time, like ridiculously. Like that shit was to waste. You didn't need that much.
Yeah,
right?
that was the young years. Yeah, that was the teenage years.
Transformation of that mindset came with your daily duties and your daily routine and all that shit. Like so it was necessary, but you've overextended yourself. Like that's Jupiter in second place, but that was necessary to bring you to embrace the values that you currently now have and appreciate. You understand? Like, you don't learn game from here till you know loss. And you can appreciate game much more, and you know how to maintain game as opposed to loss because of loss.
Right.
So, like, that was the whole mental expansive, and this, like, here, 2009, 2008, this thing here, change of job or change of routine, change of diet, change of attitude with regards to self-improvement and all of that, was the shit at that time. So now you're dealing with, the work ethic. You got to put that work ethic in order. You got to kill all the noise with the fun. It's necessary, but when it's not necessary, you got work to do, man. And, that attitude, you're gonna develop it over the next 3 years. Even if you're like, I'm already there. Yeah, well, good. Watch 3 years from now how you can really get there then. You say, well, I'm really there now. Well, then you'll watch 3 years from now when you really, really, really there.
Right, gotcha.
Yeah, the planet Saturn ain't moving faster than that. Right now it's on your Mars. So, like, there's all kinds of how do you say, you want to travel, you want to move, you want to relocate, and you can't.
Right.
Or you take care of this first,
Right.
And, yeah, that's right now because it's on your Mars. You and I both have Mars in the same place.
Gotcha.
I want to see. I want to go south right now and can't because of responsibilities. Period. So your Mars Saturn is all floating right directly on your Mars. Also, energy drain, headaches, and stressing yourself. Putting too much energy into shit. So you're dealing with the balance of what's too much and what's not, and what you're dealing with Mars, that's precision of the execution of your will. So it be precise. It's like you got so many bullets. You got aim. You get what I'm saying? Don't be just spraying shit.
Right, gotcha. All right, thanks, Zach.
Well, he had a near-death experience too. In March. He almost died.
He did?
Yeah.
Well, Saturday did it involve cars and all that? Because in March, then it had the injured arm, shoulder.
It was his face. He made a mistake and sprayed himself in the face with a flea fogger.
Wow, it was deep. I would have to really, to look at that situation, I would have to progress his chart because, in his current, as he progressed to Virgo, which is what he did, then that would put Aries in the 8th place and into the phase. Now, what's in that sign is Saturn. That is an impact, right? What also there is Chiron, which deals with the wound and the healing process, right, or the legal involvement because of its attachment to Venus, its alignment with Venus. So there was a lawsuit there that he certainly can benefit with Pluto and Jupiter and Uranus. Jupiter and Uranus together says car accident or a movie mobile impact, right? So any benefit is there with Jupiter accompanying Uranus and Libra. We look at it in legalistic. And Venus in the eighth place is the gain of other people's property because of Aries, right? But we have to look at Mars to understand how that manifests. Mars is in Sag. So that's the card, the insurance, the benefits can be diverted. And you can also look to Pluto as the sub-ruler of Aries. And in opposition to all of that, man, that does look like an impact injury. So did he bang his face? Or is there blood, contusions or bruising? Because Saturn will represent bruising and Aries face or blood and all blood,
That's deep, God.
Exactly.
Wow. Because he was talking about suing them. God, we got another one. I don't know how many more you want to do, but the queue is full. But area code.
We can run the show until it ends, until Blog Talk says get out of here.
Okay, well we got 30 more minutes then. We got 30 more minutes. All right. Area code 843. Was you finished with the guard?
Yeah, I'm just going to give you a call, Brother Rock.
Yeah, I thought he got cut off. Oh, you just closed his mic or something. But, yeah, I want to hear his response to that.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely on point. Yeah, but I'm going to give you a call for you to get the time down more accurate, like you were saying. So we're going to go to the next caller, and that's area code 843. All right, we're going to go to area code 410. Area code 410, you're on the line.
Peace. Respect to the panel. Yeah, hey, man, I got on the show a little bit late, but I said the timing couldn't be better, man. July the 20th, 1985.
What's the time, brother?
3:16
p.m.
Yes, ma'am.
He said 360?
316.
Right, 316.
350, he said?
316. 316.
Okay. And was that AM or PM?
PM.
PM.
Here goes another Cancer.
July 20th.
But Scorpio's rising here, I think, right? Yeah, Scorpio's rising. Wow, these guys are just solving mystery. And he's born at the same time as somebody coming up from my just say, no, today's your birthday.
Sure is.
Happy birthday, man. Sure.
Yeah,
wow.
Happy solar return,
man. And
yeah, happy solar return.
Actually, your solar return was yesterday.
Yeah.
So,
you're right.
anyway, you got Mars conjunct. So he did over here as a debater. He's a detail. He wants to get down to the raw facts, and pretty good at athletics or protective sports like defense and defense strategy, and be that physical or mental. He played chess. I really think he does. Pluto, in his first place with Saturn, he recently went through a whole regeneration with regards to his own personal self-expression and the pursuit of pleasure, carnal knowledge and shit like that. Like you grew up, right? You sense responsibility. Like, did you get somebody pregnant, or did you? Because the whole ideology with regards to your pursuit of pleasure in the physical mode is as opposed to disciplinary lesson. And
some issues, sudden change of fortune with regards to your finances has to be growing like over the last 8 months or so. Or manifesting over the last 8 months, or structuralization of your income from spontaneous or unexpected circumstance. And let me see, we got a minute before we get there. Let me go back up there. Yeah, you got the urge to travel this in this last month, huh? Like around the first week of summer, like from what day was it? The June 23rd and June 29th, something like that. You got an opportunity or desire for that very strongly then, right?
A little bit before them. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, see, I would adjust your birth time too. Anyway, but that don't matter for this right here. We still got Scorpio at the ascendant, right? So, dual relationships and dual ownership. 2 cars, 2 houses, 2 cities, 2 families, 2 wives, like 2 partners. You've been through some dualistic shit for that regard, right? And the willingness to travel for partnership, man, is a benefit, man. So like relocation for career and stuff like that. Jupiter is in Aquarius here, y'all. Very humanitarian, friendly, knows a lot of people. His moms or his nurturing parent knew bad people. Okay? But there's separation, long distance between him and his family. And his philosophy is, I need to know. His whole foundation is I need to know. And, he's had to go through the restabilization of ideals. That started like around 2008, 2009, 2010. And his whole idea with regards to, he smashed his idols, let me put it that way. Any ideals that he had that weren't working for him, they went through a smashing. They went through a whole rebirthing, And that was 2008, 2009, 2010. Let me see. You've been ready to roll into, you need, personal contact. You have brothers or sisters, literal, biological? Or, brothers or sisters?
Yeah, sister Scorpio, yeah.
Oh. One of them would then be very flamboyant, showy, or administrative on a business level, okay? Or very boisterous or creative with their speech, all right? And that one, if it's not a brother or a sister, then it would be a cousin or someone who has that type of bond with you, even if they're not biologically related, right? And this person could be childishly dramatic. Now, this person, you're going to have some interaction with them with regards to your lifestyle and the pursuit of a goal this month. You dig? And that should happen like about the 13th day of Leo, which will be about 15 days from now. And the idea will start to spark about the 15th day. And let me see, 10 days after that. So you have about 25 days before the communication with that regard manifests. Now that's provided that we got the right time of day. Let's go to the North Node. You've had to learn values and morality issues all your life, and thus you ain't into shit that ain't right, especially relationships and values in relationships have experienced a lot of transformation in the last 3.5 to 4 years, and to go forward from there. Let me see. Any questions? Want to comment?
Yeah, bro. I'm a good listener, but man, you I could throw it on the table. You ain't got nothing to hide, man. With the pregnancy thing, we had a good relationship, but that's when I really felt the reflection. When you got some type of anger in your heart, and I had some anger in my heart from what the girl did, what the queen did. And I lie to you not, man. I had so much anger that my left molar, when they say you're about to have a heart attack, you can feel it in your jaw and everything. So I had so much anger towards that person that the abscess in my teeth or my tooth, it was on fire. Like I didn't put 2 and 2 together. But I kind of knew what was going on at the time.
You know what you're reading? Oh, slow down a second. You know what you're reading? So you're reading your chart literally. Like you're putting the precision on what I said, right? So like you're literally doing that. You said anger in your heart, but really the word for that is resentment. The anger in your heart is Mars, anger, and the sun, your heart, and over a woman, right, which is Cancer. Now, but the resentment in your truth, the abscess in your truth is Pluto and Scorpio, and Saturn is the truth, the teeth and bones. They're together. Yeah. This is almost in a square, even though they're in the both same element. They still square by a degree. So, yeah, those two erupting at the same time. You're going through a whole lot right now, okay? Like the last 3 years, you've limited your transportation or suddenly changed your domestic situation, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mm. All of that, like you may very well think that she did you wrong, right? She came here to fulfill that promise. That was a lesson you're going to have to learn. I mean, because it's right in your birth chart. It was written for you on the day you came here. It didn't happen till like the last three and a half years during your Saturn return. Now, what was really deep is it's about you reordering the way you express yourself, the way you put value on that pleasure that you derived. That was the whole shit, That after that, it's not just the pregnancy, man. It was the attachment that came from the sexual activity you and that person had. So now Saturn has moved into, because if Saturn went through that and kind of wrecked your fucking ideals, your self-expression, your whole desire for that shit, totally changed. You learn lessons about fucking brooding and deep depression, fucking severity, cruelty too, like you said, addition, cruel shit, in return, retaliation, all that Scorpio. Saturn is a Scorpio for the last 3.5 years. And then in September, last fall, you moved into Sag. That's your money house. That's your value and moral house. Skip the money part. Because, man was here long before money, and you were here long before you got your money idea. So, therefore, it's a moral thing. And because, the second sign of the zodiac sits in the seventh place of relationships, then you have now reordered, restructured your whole your whole paradigm with regards to the pursuit of pleasure and bonding and partnership and sharing resources and all that. So she came to be, she personified that. Don't congratulate her, because now the nigga you're going to be is evolving, is getting better. But you better look at it like that. Part of that shit is karma that you pulled from back 7 years before that. So really 10 to 8 years ago. 10 to 8 years ago, you had lessons in loyalty, and maybe you weren't the loyal one. Heartbreak. Maybe you broke the heart. Saturn to Leo. And that right there, karma rears ugly ass head. Her nickname, her stripper name is Zenz, right? Karma took revenge on your ass at the age of 27, 28, 29.
Hey, real fast, brother, because really, like you mentioned about vivacity and me wanting to know the truth, about this.
Mars and Cancer speaks to domestic violence, man. It's in the 9th place. It speaks to the disciplining parent, like the father and the mother, or conflict in the household, and accusation of domestic violence, whether you did it or not. So bearing witness to it, seeing it, and that right there has some shit to do with it all.
I'm not been subject to
it. But I had to get it out for.
Yeah, thank God I ain't been up in that environment. But I was talking about the zodiac. All right, we got the quadrennian schooling, like you got geometry, astrology, arithmetic, and music, right? So it's just these pillars, the cross. So in astrology, you got the air on top, water on the left, earth on the bottom, and fire on the back around. How come we see on this wheel we see Scorpio on the right, and then we see air on the left? You get what I mean? Why is it Aquarius the water bearer? You know he got air.
Okay, well, I'll tell you. Number one, okay, don't let the imagery blow you. What brings water? What brings the rain?
I got you.
Answer that question. It's very plain. What brings rain? Where does the rain come from?
Air.
The sky. The sky. Plain and simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
Aquarius is the sky. You got Jupiter there. You flown. You fly. Or you deal with mechanics, trucks, transportation vehicles, big ones. You like trucks, okay? Or vans. Little car shit ain't working. Jupiter and Aquarius is machines. A lot of technology. Okay? A lot of knowledge. You benefit through electricity. So you can be an electrician. You should have did that if you didn't. Okay?
I did.
So it benefit through networking, benefit through the computer, benefit through technology, tutoring of all sorts. Yeah, you ain't gonna live without the electricity, Jack. But you got Jupiter retro here, so you use a lot of that shit. You know, you probably sleep with the fucking lights on. I don't know. But what I see is that Aquarius is the water bearer because the sky brings us the water. It is a air sign, not a water sign. Scorpio is water because it deals with dissolution. It deals with the fluidity and flow of something. That fluidity and flow is life. You know, you look at it, they say sex. You know, sex is just Scorpio is one. Sex is just one hair on Scorpio's head. Scorpio's head is all about life transference in every conceivable form of life transferring. So a wound, you bleed, your life fluid transfers from the inside to the outside. You sexually penetrate the surface, which is Scorpio, to go into the flesh, which is to penetrate flesh, to let a fluid go that transfers life into the woman. She's gestation, embryonic cycle, trimesters, to birth the child, and the child through the birth process is transferred into the world, and its life is transferred to this level, and it evolves, which is Scorpio. See, so many hairs on Scorpio's head, ridiculous. And then death, those common sex and death they talk about, but there's also inheritance. How is that the transference of life? Well, you poor, you barely eating, I die and leave you $100, man. You eating today. you living better today. I have transferred my life, so what I live to eat is what I use to live and eat to you now. So just for us inheritance. And you have Saturn and Mars. I mean, you have Pluto and Saturn there, and it's in your face. So regeneration and lessons of maturity and severity. You're in a cycle right now. It started back when Saturn was in Scorpio. Really, it started when you were born, but it rears its ugly head every 7 years, and now you get it in full when Saturn was in Scorpio. This whole cycle ain't over because Pluto, which is the ruler of Scorpio, is now in Capricorn in your mentality house, dude. So it's about you getting your mind and your morals right, your values and your thinking straight, the way you communicate in it, and the way you express yourself to get what the fuck you want. And that is the lesson right here for you for like from 2010, October 2010. Until Saturn goes into Scorpio, man. Saturn goes into Aquarius, pardon me. That had a 90-degree, 7-year process. So 2018, 2017, this is where that goes. This is the thing. This is what I'm explaining. You download this show and listen to the recording, and then you keep it. And then, 7 years from now, come back on this show or catch me on Facebook or anywhere you want on the internet. Tell me how right or wrong I was. You'll be telling me how right I was. I know that already.
Hey, you got weird rap. Appreciate it, bro.
On point.
One more time, for those who missed it in the show, my number is 516-881-6992. Please call me between 1 and 7 p.m. Eastern to get a sample and to schedule an appointment if you want to read. Listen, I charge $200 for 1 hour of analysis. I rectify your chart and that must be done to guarantee precision prediction for your benefit time windows. You know, you got 4 times a year, 4 times a month that you have what they call a gain window. You know, this is the window that people accidentally hit the lotto in. I've never seen a person not hit it in these days. Okay? These are you have lost days for loss, man. You should be staying your ass home and losing out on the activity outside your home and industriously gaining. Think of industrious gain as your only counter to loss. Right? So you use the bright side of that emanation there. You have these days. So these are days that you go out and spend. You think, oh, it's cool. I can buy this. And then, damn, I need that money for this now. See? Because as you know, you in a shadow window, you held that fucking money with you. And such things go like that. And that's how life goes. You know, as much as you think you can control the day, you can't control what the day is going to be like. You really can control what you do in the midst of that day. So it's good to know what type of day you're going to be doing shit in. You know, you don't plan your picnics for rainy day. Well, how did you know it's going to rain? Well, Saturn is a rainy day in your chart. So, you know, you get 4 Saturns a year. You know, so it's good to know 4 Saturns a month. It's good to know what your Saturn days are every week, man. And I know how to measure those. I guarantee the accuracy of my shit, too. You see? So, and I teach lessons in this. I teach people. I teach the elementary, the fundamentals of the science and the advanced methodology required to do prediction. It is not a cakewalk. You know, it is a life path that you must want. If you ain't interested in it in terms of life path, then get a reading, man. You know, if you are interested in shaping and timing your life for the rest of your life, I could teach you how to do that over a period of 6 months, right? If you study, if you're studious. You know, I don't want no half-ass students either. I'm not a nice teacher. I'm the strict one. I want the homework on time. I'm not playing. You know, that's what it is. You know, because I really want to develop the science needed. It is the foundation of every religion and doctrine you can think of that you can pull a piece of paper out on, right? And it is the foundation of all law.
Okay, so the classes are 6 months long, and how much is it?
Well, you pay for 3-hour classes, all right? The 6 months is given in terms of an average, because some people are slower than others, and it has nothing to do with precision. I am here to teach you how to be precise. I don't care how long it takes you, but you're paying for your time with me. And that you pay $300 per session for 3-hour sessions that are to be broken up into lesser sessions according to your learning demographic. Everybody is not the same. I cannot teach this in a classroom environment. This is not a classroom environment study. It is an apprentice type thing, you know, craftsman's apprentice. But you never gain your mastery in, so hang that up. All these so-called master astrologers are liars. They don't even, you know, master. You know, it takes the universe 4.32 billion years to recycle like a speedometer. It has to recycle back to zero. I mean, like a millimeter. It has to go back after all those 9s to zero. It takes the universe, man, 4.32 billion years to do that. So, you know, to be master of that, you have to see it at least 100 times. Well, that's 100 times 4.32 minutes, 432 billion years. You ain't seeing that. So, you know, but you can proficiently measure. You can master the art of measuring. You dig? You can master mathematics. And with that, you can take this science and get a grasp on your cycles. And you can maximize, period, with knowledge. Because knowledge is what allows you freedom. Without knowledge, there's no freedom. Your opinion doesn't engage you in any free act. And you're only free to opine. You're free to exercise that opinion if it's not in accord with reality. So knowledge is what you should be seeking, and that's what we're doing with this. This is knowledge. Law is knowledge. You know, nationality is knowledge. You know, people don't see the connection between the universe and what they think, much less the universe and what's going on. So, you know, it's all a very complex science. The 3 hours that you get from me, you're given basic and you get basics, the fundamentals of astrology. You ought to get anywhere, but what you can't get is the technique and measures that I have perfected, or I've honed. It's not perfect. I can only predict within 24 hours. So, it might happen 24 hours the date I give you, 24 hours after. See, I can't guarantee the exact day. I can guarantee the exact day within 3 days, within 24 hours. The event will not be 24 hours from the date I give you. Period. So that's what I guarantee. Like, they claim they got artists, astrologers up there that can claim to the minute. You can predict to the minute. I've never met one. Ever. But I never met one that can predict to the day either. Maybe the brother Theodore White. Other than that, all my students learn how to do it. And, we prove it. Prove it to you. It's not hard, y'all. It's not superstition, man. Just like you can predict, just like the weatherman can say it's going to be raining, even if it don't rain, there's high precipitation in the air, ain't it? So that's what he's predicting, period, is precipitation. So we know it should precipitate, right? It's really that easy, man. And if tonight's demonstration doesn't convince you, I don't know any of the people that like the woman, queen, whatever her name, I can't remember her name right this moment. See, I don't remember her. I read charts, I don't even remember names. I teach students, and those who diligently impress me, these are the ones I remember their names. Other than that, I'm not really good with those details. I'll focus on everything else. So, if you want to get to know me, there you go. Right? But to understand this science, this is what I do. This is what I want people to understand. If they want to know this science, I will teach it to you. There's no nonsense, because it requires concentration, focus. You're doing math and you're visualizing at the same time, so I'm teaching you how to do that. So it's a training course. A lot of people enter with a linear mind. I understand the learning process. I know some people are very linear in their thought. You have to be able to visualize. Some people are very visual, and you have to be linear, because when you're dealing with the measure of time, it's linear and it's rational and it's concrete and it's by the laws, mathematics. But when you're doing the visualizing, it is the interpretation of the picture that comes out of that calculation. So we're using both sides of our brain, and this science is the only science I know of that I know how to, the mechanics of, that allows us to use both sides of our brain, you see. So it's not just astrology, it's about mental development, and that's how I think that it is, it is vital to implement into, it's like mental exercise, you go to the gym to work your muscles, you do astrology to work your mind, that's why I do it.
God, let's fit one more in. Let's fit one more in before the time goes out.
Hi, brother.
Okay.
I was born July 6th.
Peace.
Peace. I was born July 6, 1945. And the time is, I believe...
19 what?
The time is 4:55. I don't know whether it's AM or PM now.
All right, we'll figure that out. All right, what year again, please?
1945, July 6th.
Okay, 45. Yeah, I got July 6th. 45. We'll get you. We'll get this for you. We'll get it, whether it's 4:55 p.m. or 4:55 a.m. Right? Just for I gotta compare the day in both positions with you. You understand?